day 5 of our Pinnacle Holiness Conference, and I just want to very briefly, not recap, but just want to state where we're at in our journey. We said there were 16 degrees of holiness that we're going to discuss in this conference, and we discussed 6 thus far, and that means that there are 10 left. Okay, and at the same time, we only have 3 days left. So obviously, we're not going to be able to go into the level of detail for these last 10 degrees as we had the first 6 degrees. And that's okay, because as we had discovered in understanding the ins and outs of faith and virtue and knowledge, that's the majority of the church circuit is, with those first 3 levels. So I think it was opportunity for us to spend more time on those at this time. And I think as we mature and we go on perfection, we will then have more of a impending need to discuss those higher levels. But these are, in my opinion, some of the more, these are the more important levels, critical levels of understanding. And in my book, these are actually the bigger chapters in my book. Okay? So the next 6 degrees of holiness from temperance to godliness, this is really the heart of our professional holiness. This is the most important, most critical juncture. But like I said before, it's difficult enough trying to fit all the information in one conference as it is. My book, I said before, is referenced by over 1,000 scriptures. So I took the most pervasive high peak of scriptural theology of holiness and 1,000 scripture references and points and positions and condensed that into 300 pages of one book. Okay? And I took that 300-page book and then condensed it into a 7-day conference. So you're getting the very high-level highlights, if you will. Before we go into this lesson on temperance, I just wanted to make sure that everyone so far was on the same page. Everyone understands where we're at, understands how we've gotten there. And if there are any questions, concerns, I really would like to discuss those now, because if you don't believe or you have any doubts about where we're at right now, you're not going to believe anything I'm going to tell you tonight or tomorrow. So any questions, any concerns, remember, the critical level or the fundamental degree of virtue is honesty. So let's be honest with each other. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, now this is why we're here, to discuss them, because like I said, there's a lot of information that I'm not giving, that I can't give you, and it's in a short amount of time. So if I go a little too high of a level and I miss something for the point about your understanding, just let me know. I want to clarify that really quickly before we go into temperance. So we are all honestly on the same page. Well, I believe in miracles, so I'm going to go ahead and take it for what it is, and we're going to go forward now, level of temperance. Now, I'm going to start off with, just really quickly. Well, today we're going to do 3 degrees. We're going to do temperance and patience, and the intervals in between those. And because we're going to hit them at a high level, we'll still be done approximately at 8:00 tonight. Tomorrow, we're going to hit the level of godliness in a special hidden level in the interval between them on Saturday, Saturday. And then on Sunday, we're going to finish with the cycle of love. And then we're going to have a portion of time where we're going to finish with the discussion. And everyone who's participated in this conference discuss what they've learned, discuss how they're going to apply it in their lives, and just make sure we're on the same page going forward with this conference. So on this slide, I want to revisit what we have learned at the point of obedience. We said that the physical stimuli was bombarding our minds. So we put a fence of faith, and then we put on an armed guard. Okay? And what happened was that physical stimuli now exceeding that fence, and there's an armed guard waiting, so that steady influx, it stopped. What happened after that? After that steady influx of physical stimuli stopped entering our minds, what happened? Immediately, before we move on to virtue, what happened at that point? We develop pure thoughts. Someone took notice of that. The enemy took notice of that. Who else took notice of that? The flesh. Remember? The flesh took notice of that. Because remember, the flesh was used to do whatever he or she wanted to do. Now all of a sudden we've got this fence up, and this armed guard saying, no, we're going to obey the Father. So when he says no, obey the Father, the flesh, he was sit with, he ran into a situation where he couldn't do what he wanted to do anymore. So what happened after that? The flesh just said, okay, well, I'm going to quit. We got a fence and an armed guard. I'm just going to... What happened? We went to work on our heart. That's true. Before we went to work on our heart, what did the flesh do? What does he do now? Yes, we said that the flesh immediately climbs over the fence and engages the armed guard in fierce combat. Okay, if you look at it figuratively, okay. He climbs the fence and he engages the armed guard in combat. Now, if we desire to follow his will and progress redemption in our lives, then the armed guard effectively keeps the flesh from subverting us and engage upon our quest. But, as Misha said yesterday, we have the ability to open up the doors to our fence or pull the fence down and say, Mr. Armed Guard, take a 15-minute break, And then what happens? Those ungodly thoughts come back. So the flesh gets an advantage there. But what we said was when we allowed the armed guard to do his work, we obeyed the Father, the flesh eventually went away. But we said in going away, he plans to come back. Well, this is where he comes back. Now, it doesn't mean that your flesh isn't messing with you between obedience to wisdom. He is. Now, he's watching you, looking for an opportunity to subvert you, to get back to where he was in point of control. But if you're successful, and that flesh never subverts you en route to temperance, this is where he comes back with full force and vengeance. So after we have released all of the power of the Holy Spirit, the war with our flesh will increase dramatically. It has in fact gathered all of its allies and has elevated its work against the Spirit in an attempt to regain control over our souls. This is why we must not fail to execute the Father's will. The work of the Spirit in our lives is not yet done. And we've accomplished two major milestones by mastering knowledge and wisdom. What were those two milestones? We broke off from sin. That was the first milestone. The second milestone.
The fear of God.
That was in part in juncture with our breaking off from sin.
Obedience.
And obedience, what does that mean for our will, if we're obedient?
Learn to be obedient to his words, to his teaching.
Acceptance. Through obedience and acceptance, we effectively merge our will with the Father's will.
Yes.
Okay? Once our will becomes one with his will, doing right becomes much easier. Okay? So that's the second major milestone. We've done that. We've broken off from sin. We've merged our wills together. But the work of the Spirit is not yet done. Okay? There's still more the Spirit wants to do in our lives. Let's go into this lesson. Temperance, a new beginning. Know ye not that they which run in the race run all, but one receiveth the prize, so run it and may obtain. And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. So, the importance of mastery is in its relationship with perfection. Okay? If you're going to be perfect, you have to be a master. You have to be given to mastery. So, if we're going to be perfect, we have to be temperate. Okay? It's one of the most important degrees in our flesh of holiness. Now, I want to put an example of temperance really quickly. Do you know what this picture signifies here? Who is that? Or who is that supposed to be?